Hello, welcome to your Finest Life Now with Dr. G. Rex Kruhly. This is a weekly show brought to you by GoGLOBAL Business School, and I'm so excited to share this moment with you. How have you been, Dr. G?
Real good. Excited to be here. Thank you very much.
Last week we were on for the first time, and we were having some really exciting conversation, and we stopped at one point where you were about to actually talk to us on morphic field. Can you enlighten us about what this is all about?
Yeah. If you have an understanding of morphic fields, you'll be able to understand fundamentally how everything is working, how everything operates. So let's it's a very big field and it's complicated. So let's see if I can simplify it down. So the man who first coined the phrase morphic fields is Rupert Sheldrake. He's a big microbiologist in the UK, real famous man. I always love listening to him talk. And when he's looking at morphic fields or he talks about morphic resonance, what he's referring to is, let's say, let's take any species of animal.
Okay.
Could be like birds, some species of birds.
Right.
Why or how does the genetic material, how does it that birds have remained birds for thousands and thousands and thousands of years? They always are able to replicate, right? They don't become something else. Like a lot of people think in evolution somehow you're going to become something else. Like a monkey's going to become a man or something, okay? So
Right.
the information, a morphic field is that the information is in the field. So the data is stored in the field relative to that species. It can be a mineral, an animal, a plant, anything, but the data is in the field. Matter, when you see matter like us, that's at the bottom of the scale of creation. But the information, it's a cascade down from the field. So every time I say morphic field, I want you to easily think of the computer cloud. Okay, so you have your data, it's stored on the cloud. You have your data stored on the cloud. And the cloud, the giant cloud, that is a kind of morphic field. Okay?
Right.
Now, so let's say we are human beings. So there is a general massive field that is for human beings. And then there are millions and millions of morphic fields for human beings within that umbrella field.
Okay.
So it works, they all coexist within. I was just talking to Aziza before this show. Aziza is a Muslim, and then I used to be a very serious Sufi back in the 1990s. I did 4 years of what is known as tasawwuf. Okay, it's a spiritual, inner mystical tradition of Islam.
Right.
One of my experiences, I did 4 years. Okay, now the group that I belonged to was the Naqshbandi Tariqat. So the Tariqat is a big, massive group that has a lineage of master to master to master, all the way back to the inception of Islam with the Prophet Muhammad. Okay,
Right.
so it's an unbroken chain. Anytime you see a morphic field, where there is a lineage, that field has extra power. It has integrity. When you get some kind of a group or something and it doesn't have a lineage, it's very weak. Okay.
I see.
Now, so the Tariqat, that group, which comprise thousands of people, but it exists, it's a morphic field of its own within the umbrella of the Islamic world, which is its own morphic field, that's different from, say, a Christian. Now, if we're looking at religions, a Christian North American field. So that each one has its own field. What does the field do? The field holds information relative to the commonality of that group.
Right.
Now, in terms of the way I work with morphic fields, I work with it on the basis of consciousness.
Right.
The stronger the field, the more that field influences the behavior, the thoughts, the values of the people or the species that are in that field. For instance, a negative example is before Hitler, you had a morphic field of Germany. When Hitler came on the scene, he was able to establish a Nazi Germany morphic field.
Right.
That field dominated the attitude, behavior, and the consciousness of those people. Now, there are people in there, of course, they were not controlled by that field.
Right.
But the majority belong to that field, and then that field carries power.
Right.
And it carries influence.
Right.
Okay? Now, a real good positive example of a morphic field is when you look at the spiritual community. Let's take Japanese Zen Buddhism. Okay. Now, if you know anything about Zen, now we're in my direct background. If you know anything about Zen, if you ever look up a Linzai or Soto Zen monastery in Japan, what you'll see in the winter time are monks, and I've seen it here in Thailand. You will see monks wearing a little tiny thin robe, walking around in bare feet in the winter, in the rain, in the wind. They're never sick. They're as healthy as a horse. Their joints are fine. There's no rheumatism. They don't have a cold. They don't get the flu or nothing. Now, why is that so?
Dr. G? So I get where you're coming with that. Very quickly, we're down to our last couple of minutes. How will this actually help businesses create success in whatever they want to do using some of what you have
very easy to explain. So what I was going to say for the Zen is the morphic field that those people belong to is so strong that it affects their physiology. Okay, and then their physiology. Now, when he's talking about a corporation, all you have to do to make a morphic field is have a common link. Okay, so you can watch, for instance, let's say you take a football game, and it's the championship game, and all these thousands of people come into the stadium. And thousands are there for one team, thousands for the other team. And they are well-educated people. They can have all the diversified backgrounds. However, they are all connected by the football game. Now you can see every year, people can be trampled to death. That all kinds of behavior that they would never normally do happens because they're in that field, and then the field it brings out or controls their psychology and their behavior. Okay. Now, in a corporation, if you establish a really good, solid corporate identity, and you establish a good with that identity, a strong corporate culture, like they belong. They feel like they belong. Now you have the field forming. Now, what is the most important thing in a field is how do you maintain it?
Mm.
Okay? How do you maintain it?
Right.
This is the key.
So,
So if go
Dr.
ahead.
G, that's a very interesting point that you brought us to. We've got a really good understanding of what's a morphic field, how it works, and how it can actually help support business growth. But I'm afraid we've come to the end of our really short time here. So I'm just gonna keep
Our
that.
show is over?
Yeah, we've got 10 minutes.
Why is it
It's a
over? Is it
it's,
over
it's a
yet?
10. Yeah, time flies, Dr. G. 10 minutes is really fast.
10
So
minutes. I thought we were 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
uh,
No?
it's 10 minutes.
10
So
minutes.
what we're gonna do, we'll take that question. We'll keep that question first, because how to maintain and support business growth. Let's give it enough time to explain on the next show. But I would like to ask everyone to connect with Dr. G on Instagram. You can see it scrolling at the bottom right now. This is weekly. We're gonna have this going on. So stay with us on this weekly show. And on the 20th of March, which is next month, in about 3 weeks' time, we're going to have a group healing session with Dr. G. And that's where all these questions and all these ideas that we are exploring right now, you're going to actually see that happening in reality on the 20th of March. We
It'll
will be,
happen for you.
yeah.
Whoever is part of the healing, everything will change for you. Okay,
Amazing.
that's what it's for. It's when I do morphic clearing, if you join that, that is applied quantum physics to consciousness. And that is exponentially powerful.
Yeah, and we'll be creating a Telegram group so that we can all stay in touch, get in touch, and continue to support each other in this journey. So that's it for us for just today. This is your Finest Life Now with Dr. G-Rex Kruhly. You have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. Thanks,
Okay,
Dr. G.
bye-bye, folks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.